Okay, we're back with part 2 of casting and learning about the concept of making a cast between data types. So we're using this file linked list _ casting data types with SimCity, and we're in part 2, so we're going to skip over the primitive variable section, move down to the object variable section. These are reference types. That's different than value types, which is what primitive values are. So we're going to work with objects now. Okay, we're going to use a linked list for this because it's a built-in Java class that already inherits from a long kind of line of items in Java. It looks like this. This is the linked list from the Java Automated Programming Interface, which is like the dictionary of Java syntax and the library of classes that can be used. This is the list of things that the linked list inherits from. It inherits from each one of these in succession. Okay, so as we're doing this, as we're setting this up, a linked list inherits from an abstract sequential list, which inherits from an abstract list, which inherits from an abstract collection, which inherits from the ultimate base class item, which is just object. It's just called object with a capital O. Okay, so we're declaring these global properties, a linked list. This one's going to be called tools. This is going to be a little list of tools that can be used to build with in SimCity in the game. And it's a linked list data type. Okay, now then we're going to declare some of the other data types and declare instances of them. We are not instantiating them. We're just going to declare them at this point. But here's an abstract sequential list, an abstract list, an abstract collection, and an object. So they all are available. The tools item is a linked list, but tools.asl is an abstract sequential list. Tools._al is an abstract list. Tools_AC is an abstract collection, and tools_obj is an object. Tools_ASL, abstract sequential list. So the underscore and the appended acronym there will indicate what data type that particular variable is a member of, or an instance of. Okay, all right, so then we get to the main method. This is where your work is going to come in. We're going to skip over part 1 because we've done that already, and we're just going to go down to part 2, which is the 60% to 90% for the grade. Okay, I'm looking for these two tasks to be done by you, these two items, these two instructions for each of these 5 tasks right here. There are 5 classes that are in the line of inheritance for a linked list, including a linked list, and that's what we're going to work with for this. Okay, so the first instruction I'd like you to do is write the cast statement to force the object into the correct class type, and the second one is to change the correct variable name in the getClass method, okay, to output the correct class type to the console. We'll look at that in just a bit. Okay, this little section right here is just putting elements or items or nodes into the tools linked list. Okay, so we're gonna, and they'll go in as element 0, node 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and these are just some simple tools. This is the last we'll see of this. We aren't really going to work with this, but I wanted to have something in there for it to have some data associated with it. Okay, so we're getting down here to the output sections. Okay, and the first task, I'm asking you to perform the cast, the cast up to an abstract sequential list. Okay, now an upcast means that you're going from a more complex, sophisticated, detailed class to a less complex class. And that means, in this case, opposite of the primitives, when you're doing an upcast with objects, that can be done implicitly. It does not have to have the syntax for the cast. We're going to go ahead and use that because it's new to us. Okay, but since it's already a linked list, we know for certain that it already has all the properties and methods and capabilities that a linked list already has all the stuff in it in order to be an abstract sequential list, because it has an abstract sequential list inside of it already. So this property, which is a global property, tools_ASL, we're going to assign to it the tools variable that is a linked list, and we're going to cast that linked list to an abstract sequential list and assign it to the abstract sequential list variable of tools_ASL. So this is the cast right here, okay? In the parentheses, right before the property that we're casting from, and it includes in the parentheses the data type that we're casting to, abstract sequential list. It does need its parameterization because tools holds nothing but strings, and we did parameterize that up here in the global area right here. We parameterized the linked list to be a string linked list. So tools is a linked list of strings, okay? It's been parameterized to be strings, and we're going to be able to cast to it, but we're going to have to declare that the the data type that we're going to cast to is going to have to consist of strings also. Okay, so we have to put that parameterization in there with its angle brackets and the word string, and that will successfully, without an error, cast to tools_ASL fine. Okay, then you've got the system.out.println statement, and it just is saying that this is an abstract sequential list. We know that, okay, and prior to checking, and then after the check, we're gonna execute sort of a check here to see what kind of class this is. Get class is a method that you can call on any class. This is a method that every class in Java inherits from the object class that will return the type of object that this item is that calls it. Okay, so in this case, you would think that it's going to be an abstract sequential class. Okay, but because we cast it right here, and it originally is a linked list, this right here, Java is going to remember what this thing originally was, what this tools_ASL originally was, that it comes from the tools property, and it was originally a linked list. So when we run this, it's going to remember that it was a linked list. Okay, so we'll look at that in just a second. Now the other tasks on here are the same way. You've got a blank line in here after the numbers, after the number lines. Okay, there's one where I'm casting to an object. I'm upcasting to an object. I'm going to leave that blank for you as well. Okay, but in these blank lines, I want you to cast underscore, and I want this one to go to an abstract list. So AL, I believe it is. Let me make sure I've got that correct. Yep, it's an abstract list right there. Tools_AL. Okay, and I'm going to. Okay, I think that's okay. And that's going to go to, we're going to cast that it's going to look something like that. Got to spell string correctly. Okay, and now that looks pretty good. Okay, so we've got the cast, we've got the data type that it's going to be cast to. It's parameterized to be a string abstract list, and we're going to cast the variable tools to this data type and assign it into this variable, which is pre-set up to be an abstract list to hold the tools original linked list in it. Okay, but this is considered an abstract list here. So again, you got another output line right here. It's going to be all I need for you to do here is replace these quotes with something similar to this. I just want you to put tools underscore al dot get class, and that'll complete that, and that's going to output correctly for you. Okay, so I just want you to make sure you use the one that we've just cast to, the data type that we use to hold the cast item, and call the get class method on it so you can output what type of item it is in the console. Okay, so they're all going to be done this way. I need a casting statement for 3, 4, and 5. Okay, be sure to recognize the correct data type to cast to, get the correct variable from the global variables, tools underscore whichever one it is, and use that here to assign to. It's going to be this very syntax right here with the parentheses, and you're going to have to put that directly in front of the name of the variable, which is going to be tools every time you cast from it. We're going to cast all from the tools linked list. Okay, it's really pretty simple. It's not that complicated. Don't overthink it too much. I just want you to see how this works. I really want you to get familiar with this syntax of the parentheses in front of holding a data type in front of a variable instance of some other data type, and that you can cast back to it. This is an upcast. We could cast this tools underscore al. We could write another line of code here. Tools could equal linked list string and we could do that, and that would be a downcast, because we know tools already is a linked list. It's more sophisticated than tools al, because tools al is where we've taken our linked list and told it to constrain itself and act like a lesser base class version of itself. Okay, but and that's a downcast right there, and that works fine. Okay, in fact, this one has to be done. If you're going to downcast with objects, it has to be done in order for it to be. It's going to be an explicit cast. Okay, an upcast with objects is implicit, and it doesn't really have to. This doesn't have to be done, but I'm using it to let you guys see what this looks like and to work with what we've got here. Okay, so it's a little tricky to come up with this that would work with the Java classes that are already existent, so we don't need any more than just one file to get this assignment done. Okay, so that's what's happening with part 2 of this. They're all similar situations here. Okay, in fact, the linked list is a downcast here at the bottom. We're casting to a linked list, so you can pick any of the other options, any of the previous items that we did here. I don't want you to actually do a downcast here, so I don't care which one you pick. You could pick tools obj right here and do your cast with this. Well, in fact, let's set this up. Tools equals linked list string, and this will work. I believe that this will work. Okay, and that should be okay. Now that, in order for that to work, you're going to have to complete your cast up here, because tools obj has to be assigned to actually have been a linked list to begin with. Okay, it's got the system has to know that this was at one time originally it was cast to this from a linked list, and that should work fine. But I'm going to let you write that. I'm leaving that blank for you. Okay, now let's do part 3. Let's look at it real quickly. This is pretty simple. This is just a rearranging things. All I want you to do, these calls are to methods down here. They all have an object output. for their return type. You don't have to worry too much about it. They call an item here. They send a parameter. The tools abstract or linked list comes in to all of these methods. Okay, and you'll notice that these are all cast method underscore C. Cast method underscore C. They're all that. But I need you to find the correct ones. Okay, A, B, C, D, or E from this list of methods under here, and put them in here to match the correct return type. You're going to have to look at the return types. Okay, find abstract sequential list, which is right here. You're going to have to call the the cast method underscore D, the cast method underscore D method. You're going to have to use that for this one. Okay, and find the data type, the correct data type, and call the correct method on it. Okay, A, B, C, D, or E. And then I need you to copy these, cut these, and rearrange these. I want them in order from output these statements. They should be in sequence from most extensive derived child class up to the most basic class. So I want, in this case, I want from the go from the linked list to object. Okay, that's the order that they should go in. Most complex to least complex, or to most basic. Okay, so put these in order and call the correct methods. Just check for the data types that you're looking for. They're all going to return an object, so they'll all work. They'll all work because a linked list is an object, and an abstract sequential list is an object, and an abstract list is an object, and of course an object is an object. Okay, so they'll all work with this return type. That's not a problem. Okay, they'll return that. And when you do get class, I want you to notice this on this though. When I run this, get class, this little Java method, the thing about Java is the system is going to remember that this was originally a linked list. So you might think that get class for an abstract list or for some simpler class would return that simpler class, but it doesn't. It remembers it was a linked list, and these will all output as linked list. Okay, so I want to do the output for this. Let's save it and take a look at it, and you can see some of what it does. Okay, and we'll look at it just a bit. Okay, right here, they're all a linked list. They're all going to be linked lists, and that's okay, but I want them in the order that they're supposed to be. Okay, so I want them from the most complex to the least complex for part C. That's for the 91 to 100. That's probably the simplest one to do, actually. It's just a little bit more work. Okay, and then I want to do on this one, I want you to see these are all going to be considered linked lists. The whole get class method is going to the Java system is going to remember that that the original tools variable is what all these contain, and it's going to remember it's a linked list. Okay, and then you've got the this should all come out. I want a screenshot of this. And I'd like to see a screenshot when you post this of your section right here, your section 2. Okay, I need to be able to see what you did with your casts right here. Okay, that's the most important part of this that I need to see, because it should all output. Your output should match up with that as well. It should, if this outputs properly, it should be fine, unless you do something funny here and try to get around having to do the cast. Okay, so that's that. We're going to leave it there and come back and do something else next time.